Good morning, my grade 9 learners! I'm so glad that I am with you again this morning. You're still listening to WRR 104.4 Gabay Aral sa Himpapawid. This is Teacher Abby, your radio teacher in MAPE 9. Alright, for the safety of everyone, let me remind you to still observe the IATF protocols all the time. Wash your hands as often as needed, and of course, you're not still allowed to go outside as per instruction by the government. Always remember, my grade 9 learners, that prevention is better than cure. So, keep safe, everyone. So, for your attendance this morning, kindly send your whole name and section in our group chat. As we go back later class, I'm expecting that you're already holding your LAS in music so that we can be able to start our discussion after a short break.
Mahigit isang taon na tayong nakikipaglaban sa COVID-19. Together, we can heal as one by following these MAPE Health guidelines.
M. Manatiling updated sa mga ipinapatupad na batas at protocols tungkol sa COVID-19.
A. Alamin ang wastong pagsuot ng face mask at face shield upang maprotektahan ang sarili at ang pamilya.
P. Manatiling malinis ang pangangatawan at sumunod lagi sa mga health protocols.
E. Educate your family about this virus.
H. Huwag basta-bastang lumalabas kung hindi naman kinakailangan.
Protect yourselves from COVID-19.
Be a solution.
And we're back, mga kaklase, on air. Before we formally begin our discussion, let us answer first the pre-assessment in your learning activity sheet in order to assess what you already know about our topic for today. Don't worry, class, it's just an assessment to your prior knowledge about our topic. It's not recorded, so answer it honestly. Let's start answering number 1. Frédéric Chopin wrote most of his music for the following instrument: A. Violin, B. Flute, C. Piano, or D. Orchestra. Number 2. What does the term nationalism means? A. Being patriotic, B. Having a strong feeling for one's nation, C. Pride in one's own composition, or D. Pride for another country or culture. Number 3. Name the composer who bridged the classical period to the romantic period. A. Bach, B. Brunner, C. Berlioz, and D. Beethoven. Let's continue. Number 4. Which of these is not a characteristic of the Romantic period? A. A freedom in writing and designing, an intense personal expression of self-emotion. B. Has a rich variety of piece types. C. Has a shape and unity of the theme. And D. The textures are more expressive. Or E. None of the above. And number 5. Which one of the following is not a type of program music? A. Song cycle, B. Symphonic poem, C. Concert overture, or D. Incidental music. Are you done, class? Alright, this time we will answer those questions and you're going to check if you got the correct answer. Is that clear? Okay, very good. Number 1 class, the answer is letter C, piano. Number 2, the answer is letter B, having a strong feeling for one's nation. Number 3, the answer is letter D. It is Ludwig van Beethoven. And number 4, the answer is letter E, none of the above. And number 5, the answer is letter A, song cycle. Did you get it, class? I hope so. Who got all the correct answers, class? How about 4 out of 5? How about 3 out of 5? Alright, it seems that some of you are knowledgeable about our topic. But most of you, my grade 9, doesn't have an idea with regards to our topic for this morning. So today, our lesson will focus on music of Romantic period. We will discover about the life and works of Romantic composers, and we're going to listen to some of their famous compositions that will surely bring us to the world of Romantic period. Romantic period, class, is described as a cultural movement that stressed emotion, imagination, individualism, and freedom of expression. These characteristics, class, are evident in music, art, and literature of the era. Nationalism is also incorporated in the music of Romantic period. What comes into your mind, class, when you hear the word nationalism? Kindly send it on our group chat and it will serve as your recitation for today. Okay, very good, my grade 9 learners. When we say nationalism, it is a devotion to the interest or culture of one's nation. An example of a composition that shows nationalism is the Polonaise by Frédéric Chopin, which is a dance composition for piano. Remember, class, composition for piano and is famous in Poland until today. On the other hand, Ludwig van Beethoven bridged from the music of classical era to Romantic era by expressing his passion and emotions through music. Again, class, who bridged the music from classical to Romantic era? Very good. So, other composers, class, were inspired by this musical style that they started to use music as means of expressing their emotions and individuality. This change in musical form also paved the way for expanding the orchestra as the composers explored various instrumentations. Can you follow, class? Alright, if you can follow, send a heart emoji in our group chat. Let's continue. Piano music of the Romantic period is in free form such as fantasy, rhapsody, ballad, and nocturne. So the program music, class, was expressed in tone poems such as Symphonie Fantastique. And most of the musical compositions of the era portray literature, history, emotions, and nature. Do you have any questions, class? Can you follow? Yes, very good, my grade 9 learners. Later class, we will discover who are the people involved in the music of the Romantic period. Now, let's begin discovering the people behind the music of the Romantic period. Are you ready, class? Let's begin under the violin and strings music. First, we have Niccolò Paganini. He was born in October 27, 1782 in Genoa, Italy, in a family of 6 children. His musical skills class started with playing the mandolin at the age of 5. He eventually transferred his training to the violin at the age of 7 with different violin professors, still in Italy. His violin teachers could not keep up with the progress of his violin skills that he kept on transferring from one teacher to another. And this led him to adopt all his teachers' influences in playing the violin. With that class, Paganini became the most famous violin virtuoso in the world. His compositions inspired a lot of the other composers such as Franz Liszt, Frédéric Chopin, and Robert Schumann. Some of the works of Niccolò Paganini are La Campanella, 24 Caprices for solo violin, Concerto No. 1 in E flat, 15 quartets for guitar and strings trio, and the Carnival of Venice. Now, class, let's move under the piano music. Piano music of the Romantic period class was filled with innovations. Why filled with innovations? Because most of the compositions require a high level of virtuosity. Some were reinventions of sonatas from classical era. Today, class, some piano compositions from the Romantic period have been adapted into songs. What is an example of this? An example of this is Chopin's Etude No. 10 in E major. So that was used for the song No Other Love. Now, class, who are the person behind this piano music? Let's find out. First is Frédéric Chopin. He was known as the poet of the piano. He began to play piano at the age of 4 and composed Polonaise at the age of 7. Most of Chopin's work, class, was influenced by folk music. He is famous for ballad, etude, mazurka, nocturne, polonaise, prelude, waltz, impromptu, scherzo, and sonata. The second one, class, is Franz Liszt. The best word that describes the word or the works of Franz Liszt is virtuosity, for he was known as the virtuoso pianist, a composer, and the busiest musician during the Romantic era. Franz Liszt, known for his symphonic poems, where he translated great literary works into musical compositions. Also, he made piano transcriptions for operas and famous symphonies. One thing more, class, Franz Liszt were not only famous because of his music, but most especially for his generosity in sharing time and money to the orphans, victims of disasters, and the many students he taught music for free. And the last personality under piano music is none other than Robert Schumann. Robert Schumann is one of the most famous romantic composers that beautifully combine music and words. He was a composer and a music critic. His father wanted him to study law, and so in 1821, Schumann started to study law. However, he spent most of his time with musical and literary circles, maybe because of his passion, right? So he convinced his family that he should put aside law in favor of a performing career. Schumann have lots of piano works, art songs, and orchestral music. Some of it are Abegg Variations, Dances of the Band of David, Carnaval, A Woman's Love and Life, A Poet's Love, Overture, Finale, and many more. This time, let's move to the program music. What is a program music? It is an instrumental composition that conveys images or scenes to tell a short story without text or lyrics. It entices the imagination of the listener. We have three composers under program music. First is Hector Berlioz. He is a French romantic composer born in 1803. At his young age, he learned to play guitar and flute but never became skilled in a specific musical instrument. His father was a physician who sent Hector to medical school, but he ended up pursuing a career in music. Like Schumann class, Hector also pursued his career in music instead of pursuing his medical course. They have both extremely passion when it comes to music. Right, class? Let's continue. One of Hector's famous musical composition is a 5-movement symphony called Symphonie Fantastique, also known as Fantastic Symphony. Did you know, class, that there is a story of Symphonie Fantastique? Let me share it to you, so please listen carefully. A young, extremely sensitive and imaginative musician tries to kill himself with opium due to depression caused by discouraged love. Unfortunately, the dose was not enough and does not kill him, but instead plunges him into a heavy sleep flocked with nightmares. His experiences, feelings, and memories are translated into hallucinations of musical thoughts and images. The Girl He Loves was transformed into a melody like a recurring theme he meets and hears everywhere. Each movement of the symphony refers to a different vision in the young musician's mind. Alright, class, that is a short story of Symphonie Fantastique, also known as Fantastic Symphony. Aside from Hector Berlioz class, we also have Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, who was born in 1840 and was known for his ballet music. He first studied law and became a law clerk in St. Petersburg in his 20s. Then he rebelled and began to study music at a conservatory also in St. Petersburg. He became famous in composing the musical poem Fatum and Romeo and Juliet. Other than Fatum, Tchaikovsky's famous compositions includes Swan Lake, The Nutcracker, Sleeping Beauty, Symphony No. 6, Pathetic, and many more. And for the last composer class, we have Camille Saint-Saëns. He was born in Paris in 1835 and started his music through the help of his aunt by teaching him piano lessons when he was only 2 years old. Afterwards, he began composing piano pieces at the age of 3. Imagine class, he went through piano lesson at the age of 2, then he began composing at the age of 3. He was also considered as a composer who creates elegant music, neat, clean, polished, and never excessive. An example of this class is The Swan. As an organist and one of the best pianists of his time, he sat very still at the piano and played gracefully and cool. Some of the best-known music of Camille Saint-Saëns are Carnival of the Animals, Danse Macabre, The Swan, Symphony No. 3, and many more. Did you understand our lesson, class? Do you have any questions or clarifications? If you don't have questions, I think that's the end of our lesson for today. For your activity class, paint the music. So I'm going to send in our group chat the recording of Frédéric Chopin's Fantasy Impromptu 66. And what you're going to do is to listen, then afterwards, you're going to draw your own interpretation in a short bond paper. Did you get it, class? Alright, again, I'm Teacher Abby, your radio teacher in MAPE 9. And this is WRR 104.4 Campus Radio. Gabay Aral sa Himpapawid.